The Seastar 2000. Now this was a watch that came out sometime last year, and when it came out I was a little bit skeptical about the size of this watch and the design. However, I thought it was a really good looking dial. I thought that they did some great things with the bezel, and of course the bracelet got some significant upgrades which it needed. And I'm talking about upgrades from the Seastar 1000 because this is essentially a pumped up version of the Seastar 1000, a watch that I think is a really great entry-level Swiss automatic dive watch. But did they get it right on the 2000? This is a 600-meter dive watch. It's their more professional dive watch, and I have one in for review, hands-on. This is the black dial with a gilt treatment. Let's flip the camera and take a look at the Seastar 2000 and find out if I was wrong. So today we have a Tissot that I've been talking about here on the channel for quite some time. This is the Seastar 2000. It's their more professional dive watch, their larger dive watch. And when they came out with this watch, I said, I wish they come out with a Seastar 1000 with all of the upgrades that this got. So they actually did that. I featured that watch here on my channel. However, it did not get the same dial treatment, and that was where I think it fell flat a little bit for the 1000 with all the upgrades. However, today we have the 2000 on the channel. This does get that dial. It's a wave pattern textured dial, and it comes in the exact same packaging that all Tissot come in these days. Just an outer sleeve. Inner box is cardboard. You get that little diorama. The hang tag here, price on this originally was, I believe, $995. Says it right there. This was $700 and change on Amazon.com. They had the other version, the earlier version that came out in 2021, I believe, which has white markings on the bezel and then silver toned hands and indices. That one was $700, which is a really good price for that. But I really like the gilt on this one, and that's the reason why I went with this one. The bracelet versions are going for around $800, and those have blue dials or a teal dial. It's like a blue and a teal. There's two different ones. So you can see, this is a large watch. It's around 46 millimeters. I'll do measurements in just a second. However, the reason why I got this is because of the gilt that's in the bezel. So this is a ceramic bezel, and it's an upgrade from the Seastar 1000, the previous version, which had just a mirror finish. This is still a very high polish finish, but the actual markings on the bezel are etched into the bezel and filled with paint. So this gets gilt in here, so it looks good and it doesn't wash out in light. So you can see as I move it around, it's still there. You can still see it. Then this gets, of course, applied indices. Those are in a gilt tone, and then the hands also in a gilt tone. Very classic Tissot hands. So you get those big fence post hands. You get that T counterbalance on the second hand. You have a little lollipop on the second hand that's all loomed. The second track, or the minute track here, I'm sorry, is a little bit different from the Seastar 1000. It's actually really nice what they've done here. It's a raised track that is around the dial, and the indices are sort of sitting on top of there. Adds a little bit of depth to the dial, which looks very good. And then you get a little surround around the date there at 6 o'clock, and that is in a gold tone as well. And then of course you get a fume patterned dial. So it's dark on the outside towards the center. It's a dark gray. So it's almost black on the outer portion, dark gray, brown almost to the center. And then you have a little wave pattern that is etched into the dial as well. Really a great treatment on this dial, especially considering this is around the $700 watch, originally $1,000, but usually for Tissot you can get a discount. Brand new, so this is a discount that I got, and it is brand new. This gets a helium escape, so I believe this is around 600 meters of water resistance, but again, very in keeping with the Seastar range. You get that sort of area in the case that is polished. Everything else is brushed. You have a brushed and polished bezel, and the bezel action, I have to say, on this watch, not the best. Again, similar to the Seastar 1000, not incredibly good, but let's listen to it. So it sounds pretty good. It just sounds a little bit crunchy, but it does feel crunchy, and it feels a little bit tinny and light, I would say. But it does line up. There's a little bit of wobble in it, which, you know, is noticeable, but it's nothing that's going to really bother you from day-to-day use. It really isn't noticeable that much, unless you're looking for it, of course, like I am. And I think it's decent bezel action. It's the same as the Seastar 1000 that I recently tested here on my channel, and that was a regular Seastar 1000, basically with a blue dial on a bracelet. This one's on a strap that wouldn't make any difference. This has molded ends on the strap. I owned my first Seastar 1000 was on this strap, and I never liked this strap. I initially liked it, then after use, I did not like it because of the molded ends. It made the watch wear larger than it needed to wear, and this is already a very large watch, and I don't think it really makes sense to put molded end links on this strap. I think it would actually look better without molded end links. You do get a nice buckle on here, and this is the Tissot buckle, which is really a chunky buckle. It's signed Tissot, and then that's filled with black enamel, which looks really good. Very nice. There's polishing and brushing on the buckle. Excellent choice of buckle they did. I really do like it. Of course, you get a screwed-in case back, and you can see the Powermatic 80, which powers this watch. So this is a Powermatic 80 hours of power reserve. And they do a good job with the case back as well. So there's, of course, the specs that are on the case back, but you sort of have these dashes in here, striations in the case back. You have obviously the notches to open up the case back, but then you have a level that is polished. There's a polished edge on the case back. A lot of detail just to the case back. They did a very good job on here. Everything is finished very nice. It's a Tissot product, so they do a very good job with the finishing. In general, just a nicely made, nicely finished watch. Now, the one problem that I've always mentioned with this watch is the size. This is a professional diver. This is their professional diver, so it does, you know, warrant a larger size. However, for most wrists, this is going to be difficult to wear. I have a 7.5-inch wrist. I'll show you what it looks like on my wrist in just a second, but it's 45.9 millimeters, not including these little crown guards that they put on here, and the enormous crown. So they put an enormous crown on here. The Seastar 1000 has a big crown, but this is an 8.5 millimeter crown. It's a 46 millimeter watch, so you need a big crown. And it's also thick. This is a thick watch, 16.3 millimeters. You do get a raised sapphire crystal, as you can see. It's just slightly raised, and there's a bevel to that, so it's not sharp. It feels really nice, and also from the top you could see that bevel. So when you're looking down at the watch, you sort of get a little bit of that bevel all the way around, and it's a little bit of character. I like it. Here's the biggest measurement, I should say, for this watch. It's not the lug to lug. So the lug to lug on here is big. You know, it's 51.4 millimeters, but that's because it's a 46 millimeter watch. So it does make sense that that's the lug to lug. But once you get that effective lug to lug, this is what's going to make this watch difficult for a lot of people. I mean, it's around 59 millimeters, depending on how you measure it. And I could squeeze as hard as I can here, and it's going to come to around 58.9. So it's a 59 millimeter lug width. That is a big lug width for any watch. I don't care. That is big, and it's going to wear big no matter what because of that. They can make a 46 millimeter watch that wears smaller, but this will not because of that. So 22 millimeter lug width. So they didn't go with something like 21 millimeters on this watch. So like they did with the Seastar 1000. So you can get different straps for this and change up the strap. That's why I would definitely change this strap immediately. And I actually have a strap just lying right here. This is a sailcloth strap from Mr. Sailcloth, and it's in 22 millimeters. I don't really have one that matches very well with this case, but I think I'll end up changing it into something like this because it doesn't have molded end links or molded ends to it, excuse me, so it won't wear bigger because of it. But with all that being said, I think it's a very good looking watch. I'm going to throw it on my wrist and so you can see what I'm talking about. It does wear very big on my wrist though. I have 7.5-inch wrist. This is a 40mm watch that I'm wearing. This is a sweet watch. Very, very cool. This is Wicked Watch Company, and they just started delivering these watches from their original pre-order. This is the STP 111 version of the Pearl Diver. This is a bronze watch. I believe this is a carbon fiber insert. I don't remember. But this has a LumaCast on it. So the lume on here is insane. In fact, when we do a lume shot for this watch, I'm going to show you the lume on this watch. Now this watch was around $400 on the pre-order, and it came with an incredible package. This gets a black pearl dial. So this is a black mother of pearl dial, which almost looks black, but in certain light, it really pops. This is a beautiful, beautiful watch. And I'm really excited to bring you guys the review on this. They went to town with the lume. They added lume on the crown and on the buckle. So, I mean, that's pretty incredible. Lume, expensive, as I always say. So we'll do a quick lume shot once I just show you this on my wrist, and I will bring that in so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But I will be doing a full review on that watch, and I have one to give away, which I am really excited about. There you go. This is the Tissot Seastar 2000 on my 7.5-inch wrist, and it wears big. This wears bigger than my Planet Ocean did, and I had a 46 millimeters, 45.5 millimeter Planet Ocean that had a thickness of around 17 millimeters. This wears bigger because of the design of the case and the fact that it has molded ends on that strap. It wears like a 46 or 47 millimeter on my wrist. Now again, if I was going to go diving, I would want something like this because it's big. I could operate this with gloves on. The bezel is decent. I don't think it would move if it got knocked by something. Maybe it would. If it got rubbed by a pair of jeans or something like that, it might. But other than that, it does look very big, but it's very comfortable. And in general, I think it's a very good looking watch, especially that dial. The dial gives you that wave effect, textured dial, and the pattern on here, the Fume dial, looks really good. So let's quickly charge up this watch. I'll also charge up the Wicked watch, and we'll do a quick lume shot just so you guys can see both of the lumes. But I believe the lume on here is decent because you do have very large indices here, and I'm pretty sure they're filled pretty liberally with lume. The past Seastars that I've had on the channel were pretty good for a major brand, I would say. So very quickly, a lume shot, then we will wrap up the video. There you go. Decent lume on this watch, as I mentioned, because you have those big indices and they are filled with lume, so you're getting a decent amount of lume filled in. So there you go. And also, this is their professional dive watch. It needs to have more lume, I think. It's a larger watch in general, making it more lumed would make sense. But here is the other watch that I was just showing you guys. This is insane. You have the lume crown, you have the lumed buckle as well. So this buckle is lumed. That's the logo right there on the buckle. LumaCast is really good stuff, and this lasts a long time. So I just charged it for a few seconds. I charged this for a lot longer, and this is really very, very good. The logo on here is lumed. The 12 o'clock index is also a logo for the brand. They loomed that. And then, of course, the crown also loomed with their logo. Pretty awesome. Cannot wait to do the review for that because I think it's a really special watch for a really good price. And they used to put, on the prototype, they put Wicked Company or Wicked Co. on the dial. They did away with that. They just put the logo on there. Great move. I think they did a great job with this watch. Anyway, speaking of great watches, this is a pretty decent watch. If you are in the market for a large diver, and maybe you are a professional diver, this is a really good option. I think it's a good looking watch. It's really legible, easy to use, and it has 600 meters of water resistance. It will wear very large for people with smaller wrists. I have a 7.5-inch wrist, and I think it's borderline too big for my wrist. So I'm contemplating whether or not I'm going to keep this watch. But that is me. Now, if I had a slightly larger wrist, this might wear a little bit better. And also, if I were actually using this professionally as a diver, this might be a good option because it is big, and maybe wearing this over a wetsuit, it would be, you know, something that would be useful as a tool watch. But tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. And I also wanted to mention that they put a helium escape on here, and they do it right. It's really almost invisible. It's really something that is there, but you don't need to see it. And I like that they do that. So it is a saturation diver, so something to mention. Anyway, that's really it. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog, all one word. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.